Hey guys, hope you're all having a great day. So behind me here is the vegetable garden that I have at my dad's house. We originally started it probably around the middle to end of May, and we've harvested a lot from it. We've gotten a lot out of it, but there's a lot of stuff that's really not looking that great. Part of it is because we just kind of got a little bit loose with taking care of it, and I didn't keep up with everything that I should have. And other parts of it too is that things just kind of fizzle out by the end of the summer. So I wanted to start a fall garden. I ordered some seeds from Johnny Seeds, which I will definitely be showing you in this video. So I want to take out the stuff that doesn't look good. I think I'm going to keep some stuff in here. Like there's some marigolds that I know are certainly beneficial to growing anything to help with insects and other problems like that. So I think I'm going to keep some of those in there. And there's a few other things like some Swiss chard still looks pretty good in there. Probably some other stuff that I'm forgetting. Yeah, there's a basil plant that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to rip out everything else and then harvest everything else that I can. And then we will plant the new seeds. So here's a look at what everything is looking like right now. Just starting off, I have this rosemary here, which I wanted to keep in a pot because I want to bring this in for the winter, and I got this after I planted everything else. So this I'll probably just end up keeping here. You can see there's a lot of marigolds, which honestly, they look pretty good. I think I just could work on deadheading them, and those will hold up for the rest of the season. But this tomato plant, this is one of the larger ones. It's not really worth it to keep. I'd rather just plant something else. But then some of the Swiss chard here, like that looks beautiful. That looks really great actually. And now that it's not as hot, it's not trying to like bolt as much. So I think that's gonna stay there and look pretty good. This basil we can definitely keep. I might cut it down and harvest some so we can use for maybe cooking some dinner tonight and after that. Not sure about this eggplant, I'll see about that. Rest of the tomatoes, it's not to say that like this tomato won't continue producing, but I'll probably just harvest what I can out of green tomatoes, keep them in a paper bag, and then hopefully those will ripen up and I'll get rid of the rest of it. Cucumbers are definitely done. And I actually got sugar snap peas, so I actually will use this trellis for those peas and that'll work out great. Again, see the marigolds look really good. Zucchini's pretty much done at this point, and then all of this corn, I don't know if I'm going to tackle this tonight. I want to take a look to see how all the corn is shaping up, but this is an ornamental corn. I can't remember the exact variety for it, but it's definitely shaping up pretty good. But like, see this one here, I think this isn't quite ready yet because usually when I harvest corn, when these, I don't know if they're called tassels or whatever, once these start to turn more of a brown color, you can see that they're starting to turn brown. Like this one's probably ready, but this one, not quite yet. So this I might leave here for another week or two. And what we're gonna do with all of this corn is we're going to bundle it up and then we can decorate with it. So like for example, if you take a look over here, on the front of that we might put some corn, or maybe by our side door that we use all the time, or by the front door, something like that. I might bring some over to my mom's as well. I'm not entirely sure exactly what I want to do, but there's lots of corn here and this is looking really great. A couple that have fallen over. So I think I'm going to leave this bed here for now. I also know for sure that I want to grow some garlic this year. Garlic you don't have to plant until, I think it's around like sometime in October. It might be the beginning or end of October, something like that. But I am going to be planting that at some point in the fall, and I'm going to need to keep some space for that, so I might plant it where that corn is. The garlic is kind of interesting though, because you harvest the garlic July 1st, or around the beginning of July, I should say. So I might not plant it there. I might do corn again in that space next year. So I just have to plan wherever I plant this garlic. I won't be able to put anything there in the springtime because I'll have to wait for that garlic to be done, and then I can just maybe leave that space open for some sort of fall crop. So besides that, I'm going to clean up the first two beds for sure. I'll take a look at the corn, see how the ears are. If I feel like it's ready, then I might cut it down, but we'll see. I'm also working with the daylight right now. As you can see, it's already starting to go away. And then we will definitely be planting those seeds. But those seeds I should get in the ground as soon as possible, because the sooner that I plant them, the sooner stuff can start growing, and the sooner we can start harvesting some fall crops. Okay, so it is the next morning. I worked on cleaning out those first 2 beds pretty much until it got dark outside. So it's the next morning and I'm gonna be planting some of those seeds, but let me show you what I actually do have for seeds. Okay, so I have a stack of seeds here. Some I ordered from Johnny Selected Seeds earlier this week, and they actually came in within a few days, which was perfect. So if you are interested in starting seeds for a fall garden, it is not too late to order seeds because these came in really fast. And then I also have some ones that were left over from last year. And I have some labels here. I'll explain that in a second. But first of all, this is the largest bag that I have. These are Super Sugar Snap peas. They're basically Sugar Snap peas, but they're more, I think it's powdery mildew resistant. I was reading on their website. What's really awesome about Johnny's Seeds is they have all this information on the back about explaining or like planting them. This actually mentions specifically about planting a fall crop. This says plant 2 months before expected fall frost. Usually our fall frost is anywhere between the middle of October and beginning of November. So these should work out pretty well because lately it's only been like the 1st of November and today's September 2nd. So they'll have just about 2 months. So I have these peas, and peas are one of the seeds that you really want to soak before you plant them in the ground. It's just going to help for much higher germination, and they'll also germinate much faster. So I have these peas here. This one says it has a minimum of 250 seeds. I probably have like 50 to 100 in here, so I don't have a whole ton of them, but I'll show you where I'm going to be planting these. Next, I have a variety of broccoli called Emerald Crown. We're going to see about broccoli. Not entirely sure if I'm actually going to be able to harvest broccoli, but it'll be a fun experiment. Then we have a variety of carrots called Bolero. These are actually pelletized seeds. So if I open up the back of this, also what's cool about Johnny Seeds that I didn't know about is they actually have a resealable flap. I don't know if you could see that, it says that there. Pretty cool. So you want to gently open up these packets if you ever order from them. I hope more seed companies do this. So if you take a look at these carrot seeds, do you see how large these are? The seed itself isn't that big, they're just pelletized, so that way they're much easier to work with, and that can help you space them better. So those can go back in here. So this is a nice variety of carrot that I'm going to be starting. There's a variety of kale called Scarlet. I have a variety of spinach. This one is called Hammerhead. There's actually quite a number of seeds. I don't know why this packet in particular gives me 1,000, but whatever, that works out totally fine for me. And then these were seeds I had left over from either the spring or from last year, so I'll probably be mixing these together and just have like a whole lettuce area, kind of just sprinkle seeds throughout. So this is a variety of lettuce called Burpee Bib. This is like a romaine type of lettuce. We have black-seeded Simpson. We have escarole called Sugarloaf. This is a nice purple one, like a purple type of romaine called Four Seasons. This one's a spinach called Big Ruffles Hybrid. Another lettuce called Salad Bowl. This is just a good one for pretty much any type of use for any lettuce. I have another variety of kale called Premier. Another romaine called White Paris. I guess I should have grouped these together a little bit better. Then we have spinach called Salad Sensation Hybrid. This kale is Dwarf Blue Curled Vates, or I think that's how you would say it. And then there's 2 types of carrots, Little Finger and then Short and Sweet, and this is the organic one from Burpee. So I'll have 3 types of carrots, which will be fun to try. So this is the space that I have to work with. I ended up leaving a lot of the marigolds and pretty much all of the Swiss chard, except for the one that was starting to go to seed and was falling over the end here. I don't think it's going to be a bad thing that they're all kind of mixed throughout together. I'll just kind of keep them in similar groups, and I think that's the best way that I can do it. But this Swiss chard still looks so good. We've harvested so much Swiss chard this year that it's honestly kind of crazy. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plants. 8 plants, and we've had more than enough Swiss chard for our family. Like, we've actually given so much of it away to the rest of our family, and even that's a lot too. I left the basil, so I'm just going to be kind of planting throughout here. It'll end up giving them some shade while it's still pretty warm for the next few weeks or so. And then this bed is pretty much clear except for the few marigolds that are here. And the one thing I did want to mention is I had this from the cucumbers. I actually don't think I'm going to start my cucumbers with this trellis next year. I think it's too small. I'll have to do like a ranch panel, like maybe like a ranch panel up and across or something like that. But this just isn't nearly tall enough to start cucumbers, even the pickling variety. So this is going to be great though for my sugar snap peas. So I'm going to do 1 row of sugar snap peas here, and then I'm going to do another row over here. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna plant them on the inside or outside. I'll figure that out once I get there. And I don't know if I'll keep it here or not, but this will be the perfect size for these sugar snap peas. I also just wanted to mention while I was here that I have these wooden labels, so I'm going to be labeling as much as I can, but I actually only have so many, so I don't know if I have enough to label everything. I might not end up labeling all the lettuce. If I'm spreading seeds, I might just either leave it or just put lettuce on one tag and just put them all in the same area. The thing about wooden labels is it's pretty hard to label them because if you use a marker, it just ends up bleeding through and you can't really read like a pen or anything like that. So I have this colored pencil, just a black colored pencil, because I think that shows up the best. So I think I'm just going to use this for the labels and see how this works out. But I'll end up getting different labels when I do need to get new ones. Okay, so I have everything planted in the ground that's gonna go in for now, so let me show you what everything looks like. So I'll start with the back bed first. This trellis, like I said, I was gonna use for the sugar snap peas, so I did a row here, and then I also did a row here. It may have looked like I put a lot of seeds in, and I honestly did. I think I soaked more than I actually needed, but worst case, I can just thin these out if I need to. Also, it's probably not a bad thing to have a little extra because they're not gonna grow nearly as much in the fall. Or really overgrow this too much as compared to the springtime, so I'm not really that concerned. Underneath here, just in this section over here, not any further past, is the hammerhead spinach. I figured this would get some good protection from these peas as they start to grow if it still stays hot for the next like month or two, but I don't think I need to worry about it too much. It's just going to be nice to have a little pocket in there. Then what I ended up doing is I have carrots that are kind of in a little row here, another row here, and then another row here. I said to space them 24 inches apart, which this bed as a whole is only 3 feet. So I just figured that was really far apart. So they're probably like I don't know, maybe 8 inches apart from one another, so it's not super far. But that's the Bolero ones. Those are the ones that were pelletized. And then on the other side here, I did 2 rows that are probably, again, like another 6 to 8 inches apart. And that is going to be the Emerald Crown broccoli. So we'll see if this grows for me and actually produces anything before it gets too cold. But it'll definitely be a fun experiment just to see. And that finishes off this bed. This bed's a little bit more confusing. It's also weird because I didn't have a whole lot of room to plant stuff, so I figured this was going to be saved all just for lettuce, and I would kind of intermix them together. So what I did here is I wrote spinach here, not any specific varieties. There's 2 varieties that are mixed in here. So just this whole section I know is going to be spinach that I can cut, and it doesn't make a huge difference to us once we eat it, but at least I can have the same type of leaf together. In this section over here, it kind of starts over here, takes up this space, and it's growing underneath the Swiss chard as well, and then it kind of comes over to here. This is just different types of leaf lettuce. So I just put lettuce right here. There's lots of romaine. There's like the red romaine. I think I actually put escarole in here as well. So we'll see how that all grows. And I did put this in pretty thick. So this whole thing should pretty much just be covered with leaves. And what I can do is I can just chop out sections at a time and then it'll regrow. So we'll see how that goes. But again, this section is all lettuce. And then this section over here, in between these 2 marigolds and kind of coming out to about here or so, this is going to be just kale. I had the Premier kale. I had a couple other varieties I can't remember the names of, but this I just have as my kale section, and you can see this tag right here. I did water it in. I showed you on the screen watering each one of these once. I actually went back a couple more times and just quickly watered them. The one thing I just didn't want to do, since I just planted seeds, and some of them I almost kind of just scattered them on top. I didn't really cover them with much. You just don't want to let the water pool. Otherwise, the seeds can float and then go to those pools, and then you'll have a whole bunch of plants in one little spot and then nothing in the next. So I tried to lift up the wand high enough so it almost was like it was raining, and just quickly went over areas. Like each bed I only watered for like 5 to 10 seconds at a time, so that way I didn't overwater it and the seeds could sit in the spot that they needed to. But I wanted to make sure I gave them a pretty deep watering, so I wanted to make sure that I could go back and water it a couple times. The biggest thing too is because these are not very deep in the ground, and with different things like lettuce, carrots, spinach, all that kind of stuff, they have really tiny seeds, so it's very easy for them to get kind of lost in the soil. So you really don't want to plant them too deep, but that means you have to keep the soil very consistently moist. The best thing to do is a drip irrigation system. I've been starting to look more into doing that for our garden beds, and not just for the vegetable garden, but for everything. But I'd have to snake it all the way across, and we don't have any sprinkler set up here. So I think at some point, maybe in the spring or at some point next year, I definitely want to tackle that. Maybe this year, we'll see. But for now, I just want to make sure I'm watering it at least twice a day. Thankfully, this next small stretch of a week or so, I have in between working and school starting. So I'm actually going to be home quite a bit. So I'll be able to water these 2, maybe even 3 times a day if I'm home during the middle of the day. It's really just for the first week or so. Once the plants get a little bit of roots in and they start showing some green, then it's really only once, maybe twice a day on the hot days that I have to worry about watering these. And a lot of them will be better protected with like the Swiss chard or the marigolds, providing a little bit of shade. All of that is going to be super helpful for these getting started, but they're just very tender at first. But because it's going to be quite warm, I'd say it's like the low 80s every single day here. They're going to pop up quick. Like I'm going to see growth here probably in less than a week or so. And I did want to show you guys one last thing. I know this wasn't my focus on the video for today. I will be taking care of a video with this soon enough, but look at how beautiful this corn is. I just unwrapped one of these. This is a variety of ornamental corn. I'm not exactly sure which variety it is. I know it's not glass gem, but I'm thinking about ordering that for next year. But it's just a really cool like native variety that has all these different colors, and I'd say it actually got pretty good fertilization. It wasn't too bad. It's not perfect. You can see there's kind of jagged rows and everything, and there is some missing at the top, but for the most part, that looks pretty good. So maybe in this last bed, I'll plant garlic in another month or so. We'll see exactly what it is that I want to do for that. But that corn will be coming down very soon, so that'll probably be the next video that I have out. And I will definitely be providing updates on YouTube, but also probably Instagram, maybe through Reels or some pictures of that kind of stuff, on what this garden is really starting to look like. I'm very excited about it because I haven't really done a formal fall garden before. So we'll see how it goes. It's definitely an experimental year. Definitely a trial year, especially for things like the broccoli. I'm not really sure how well that's actually going to grow, but I figured I might as well try it instead of not trying it. Besides that, I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you in the next one.